If you buy a book, there's a reason you're buying a book, because you could be buying a book right now, but you're not doing it. So when it happens, there's a reason for it. And if we can understand that from a reader's perspective, because we have a book in the world, we have a work of art in the world, and we want people to be so moved by it that they want to have it in their own lives. If we can figure out what is that trigger for them, the greater we can let them know that it's the right trigger for them. It can help them achieve what they want. And so I've identified 10 different reasons why people are going to be buying your book in the future if you have it out in the world. There are others, but we're going to start off with this 10. And the first thing is that your book is giving people information that they can share with others. And this is really important. We are social creatures. If we look, I'm going to be referencing a lot Maslow's hierarchy. It needs, if you follow the channel a lot, you know I talk about that, because it explains why we behave as we do. There's times where we need food and drink. There's times where we need shelter. But a lot of times, if you have a book out in the world, it's going to be operating more on the higher ends of that pyramid towards things like status and community, belonging, and then way at the top, self-actualization. So if we understand that my book can give other people information that they can share with others, that's a status move, because what it does is it elevates my status. I know information, you don't, and I'm going to share it with you, which raises my authority or my status and my connection with people. It's not like a status move is going to like take someone from like a peasant to a king or anything like that, but it does change the power dynamic in a relationship a little bit. So that's the first thing that our book can do. It's giving some sort of information to people that they want to share. The things that we share can be solutions to problems, but it can even just be, look at like news articles or why people check out Reddit and sites like that. It's just interesting information that's like funny or strange or weird that you can then tell other people about. So that way you also appear perhaps more interesting to them. On a similar point to that, the second reason why I think people buy books is that it solves a problem. For instance, you may be looking at manual, something I did a lot as a kid. I know that a lot of kids didn't do this, including my brother, but when we would get a new game, I would really like to look at the instruction manual for the game. I was looking at the controls, I'm looking at the tips they give, and at times that's allowing me to do things in the game that other people who didn't read the manual either never learn, or it takes them much longer to learn it. So the next reason why people are going to be tuning into your book is because it's going to help them to solve the problem. I know, for instance, just as a homeowner, we have books that teach you how to fix things in your house. Obviously, you can turn to YouTube too, but I think that's also something I saw from my dad growing up. There's a book that tells you, how do you fix a washer? How do you fix things with a furnace? How do you fix problems with like the wood, or there's a hole on the wall, things like that. So just that aspect of, hey, this is going to give you some information that you need. That's another reason why people may be turning to your book. The next reason, a little bit lower on the chain of the hierarchy of needs, but it's still also important, is just entertainment. It solves that problem that, hey, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do in that 5 minutes between appointments? What am I going to do while I wait for my kid to get out of school and I'm in the parking lot or I'm waiting by the door? Well, your book could be the solution for that. Support and entertainment keeps the mind curious, keeps the mind searching for new information, keeps the mind focused on something besides just being bored. The next thing, and I think this is especially important if you're involved in communities of people and you're trying to demonstrate you belong, you're in the in group, you are part of the association, it is that your book might be the way for people to show that they have an affinity towards something, that they are members of it. You see it in poetry world a lot. Whenever a new poetry release comes out from big name in the poetry industry, people buy it, people flock to it. Winners of awards, people flock to it. Why? Because it tells other poets that, hey, I am well read in the poetry community. Whereas, new poetry books are coming out all the time. So if you're like a no-name poet and people haven't heard of you, in some ways, that fact that no one's heard of you gives people less incentive to read you, because there's other people also putting out books in times and limited resource. So I'm going to show in my poet friends that I'm in the know in the poetry community,
by reading this book that's come out that everyone else is reading too.